I first got interested in drums when I was 10. Um, there was a girl in my class at school, and I knew that her brother was a drummer, and I used to go around to her house to sort of hang with her. Not, I used to basically go around and basically hope that I could either get to sit on the drums or he'd show me something. Russell Gamble, his name was, and then basically, I kind of, it was one of the things for my parents, I think. It was one of the things I actually concentrated on for longer than 3 minutes. So they really invested time and effort, and about a year later they bought me a kit. So I was 11 when I got my actual first kit. First drum kit was a Premier Olympic single-headed toms, Phil Collins styley, and it was I think they called it satin gold. The colour was kind of really proper. It was, so that would have been 1981, but very much a sort of 70s kit, really. Yeah. Yeah, the first gig. It's really difficult. That. I mean, I think probably one of the first gigs was properly was when I was in my teens, to be in my early teens, sort of 13, 14. My dad would have taken me to various sort of jazz gigs. And I think that would have been it. Although, having said that, there would be sort of club pub gigs that maybe I would have seen people playing in an afternoon in a pub or something, a little jazz thing, quite possibly. But I think, yeah, around 13, 14. And it would have been somebody like Chris Barber, which is a sort of old English sort of trad jazz guy, plays trombone. Yeah. That's easy. So the first band, really, I was in a jazz trio with my music teacher at school, and he showed me how to play brushes. Actually, he's a piano player, but and I was definitely 11 when I was in that band, and we were doing gigs. We would do like sort of PTA dinner dances, which is like sort of parent teacher association dinner dances, and I distinctly remember getting like a tenner, £10, and my friends that were doing paper rounds and stuff at the time, it would take them a month to earn that, and I guess it was very simple. I realised this could be kind of cool, playing the drums, and then you get some money at the end of it. It was 11, and it was the Alan Jones Jazz Trio. Alan was the music teacher at school. Me, him, and John Matthews was the bass player, and we did loads of gigs. It was cool. Yeah, that's a tricky one, because it's like there's a couple, because one would be we supported the Rolling Stones with the band that I was in, and just that amount of people is, they're obviously not there to see us, but they're still there, and it was a fantastic event, that supporting the Stones. I did Woodstock '94. That was my 5th gig with that particular band, and that has stayed with me for my whole life. That the feeling of doing something that big. Wembley Stadium, I played. I did the Olympic opening ceremony in 2012 in London. That was quite a gig. But then I've done they're like just the events kind of thing. Yeah, there's a few, many actually that I'm really happy that I did. I played at the Albert Hall with Van Morrison. He was on the bill of this big gig that we did, and that Van is notoriously grumpy with life, but if you're a drummer, he's even grumpier with you. And a couple of my friends have played with him, and they said, man, just good luck with Van, because it's drummers that he goes for, and he was absolutely perfect. So it made, I was dreading that gig in some respects if I got him on the wrong day, but he was amazing and the gig was beautiful and he sounded absolutely fantastic. The only thing he said to me was just play a few more bass drums in this one particular song, and so that was a screaming success, Van Morrison, to the point where one of the drummers said to me, "How was the gig?" I said, "It was great." And he went, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." He didn't say anything to me, not anything negative. And he just said, "I hope you don't play with him again," because basically he's going to be dreadful the next time. But yeah, I guess those, and there's many. Yeah, never real mega disasters. That could have been that Van Morrison experience, but it wasn't. One of the, I guess, we were talking about last night, what can happen, the things that can happen when you're playing, and what do you do to rectify, i.e. from simply dropping a stick to anything else. And the worst thing I think that's happened, or the oddest thing, was I was playing in Turkey at a festival with a guy called Tom McRae, and he's very gentle music. I was playing brushes, and it's outside, and we're just starting the intro with this song. He's got finger picking guitar, really gentle, and a guy comes on stage and just goes over to the lead microphone, and we're like, "What the fuck?" And he starts reading out these numbers, and we're like, "What the?" And the crowd are booing because he's interrupted our performance. But he's still, it seems like he's reading out the lottery numbers or something. So weird. And then he goes, and we carry on. And I turn around and I see our tour manager just down from the stage, and I look at him, and he goes like this. And I'm like, what? "It's a bomb," he was mouthing. And I'm like, funny. He disappears, and we're playing away. It's this beautiful, gentle music, and the next thing, there's a massive fucking explosion, flash, stage wobbles, and basically, the numbers he was reading out were car registration plates, and they'd found a suspect package that they wanted to destroy, and the numbers were the people, "Move your car because we're going to blow this thing up." So that was pretty weird, I have to say. And that trip was a very odd trip. That stage later in the day collapsed with Skunk Anansi on it. So that Turkish festival, I'm not rushing back to that one. Well, it's funny, we were talking about it yesterday. Probably Kate Bush, I think. I prefer to do a record, but if it was just a gig, I'd settle for that. Yeah, favourite record. Well, I'm nearly about to finish another record with a guy called James Morrison, and this will be my 4th album with him. And this one we recorded in an old-fashioned way. We all played together with James in the studio, so all of us, and it's like they used to make records in the old days. The whole band would play together. It's very unusual now for that to happen. Like most sessions I do, it's just me and a producer, and so I'll be in the main room, and there'll be a couple of guys in here, and they play me the music, and off we go. Whereas this was like an old-fashioned approach to it, and it was really great. And I think, from what I feel about what we played, all of us, hopefully, I think it'll be received well. And it's, with drums in particular, with pop music that I play, the drums are usually manipulated some way. So they put you in time, or they chop you up, and your true personality never really comes across. But with this record, they're takes. So I'm playing that. So it's really a proper representation of how I play the drums. So I'm excited about that one. Not sure it's going to be called the new James Morrison record, but it'll be out this year, I think. Yeah. there was there's a guitar player um, called Dominic Miller. He plays with Sting, and I happened to sort of walk into a coffee shop in Chelsea, and I don't know him very well, but he was with another couple of guitar players, and one I knew well. So he called me over, and we all sat together, and I was introduced to him, and we were chatting about all sorts of things. And he said, the thing, we were talking about young musicians, and I was talking about drummers, and the trend now to play as fast as you can, and to show your technique as much as you can when you play. And he said guitar players are the same. He said, but what guys have got to realise is, like when he said, when you audition for a band to start your career going, or just to maintain your career, he said, and I was like, I knew this was going to be a nugget, whatever he was going to say. And he said, musicians have got to understand when you're in an audition process, you must try and obviously be as musical as you can and support that singer or artist that you're working for, and play things that make them feel good, to enhance their songs, to make them better, rather than a lot of people go into auditions and they try and show that they're a great musician, usually with technique, and that doesn't work really, with most true artists. And he was talking about when he auditioned with Sting, he learnt the songs that he had to that he auditioned with, I think, and he played supportively and in a really musical way, and that stuff enabled him then to get that gig. And he's been doing it for God knows how long. I don't know, 20 years maybe, and it's been very lucrative for him. But I think, yeah, that's a good one. I had a great story about Ringo Starr the other day. Someone said, how come you've got a reputation for being such a great song drummer, playing for songs? And he said, well, I'd only do a drum fill when they stop singing. And I thought, that's beautiful. Not getting in the way of the vocal. Yeah, is that good? I suppose it is, those two. What I say to young musicians is, really what I feel is, don't give up, because some amazing things can happen with this business, and they've certainly happened for me. I'm very, very fortunate, touching wood, that some incredible things have happened, and I think it's you just have to actually kind of, I know it sounds a little bit soppy, but believe in the dream of you becoming a musician, because if you give up on that in your heart, then I genuinely feel that, interestingly, less things will happen, if you know what I mean. It's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, this is not going to happen for me, and it doesn't. Whereas I was an idiot. I always thought, well, when I was younger, I'm like, I'm going to be in Sting's band. There's no question about that. I am going to be playing for Sting, which I haven't actually. But if I look along my career, I'm very, very happy with some of the stuff I've done and I've achieved. And I, as a youngster, and still I'm 50 next year, I still feel that things can happen. So Kate Bush, for instance, that is still in my mind, is a possibility. And interestingly enough, now the people that I've worked with along my years, there's definitely possibilities that it could happen. Whereas 25 years ago, you'd just be like, "You're nuts! You're never going to play with Kate Bush." But it's getting increasingly likely. I might never play with her, but that I feel what you should give to people is that optimism and openness about life. It might happen, just might happen, and interestingly, things do. So my advice to youngsters is just go for it. And if everyone's going, you're not going to be in a band, you're not going to, just blissfully ignore them. Is my advice, And I know there's going to be people giving you pressure. You've got to earn money. You've got to get a life. You've got to get a job. One of my things is if you get a job that you don't like and you earn £100,000, that's cool, I guess. It works, you know. But if you did music and you only earned £20,000, but you were incredibly happy, that's got to be better. That's it, really.